Hi everyone, welcome to the Communities for Children Frankston Awesome Kids Calendar Workshop for Prep Tier 2. My name's Christina Keeble and I'm here to talk to you today about anxious feelings, what they are and what you can do about them. And I like to talk about this because I'm somebody who's had a lot of experience at this because, well, I experience anxious feelings probably more than most people. So I'm used to trying and finding new strategies. And that's what I'm now here to share with you, because everything we're going to talk about as a tool or as a strategy is something I've tried and has helped me. So I hope it will help you. But before we get started, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land, the Boonwurrung and Boon Wurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I recognize them as the custodians of the land and acknowledge elders past, present, and emerging, and any Indigenous people watching this presentation. This presentation is brought to you by Anglicare Victoria, Awesome Kids Communities for Children. And my business is Christina Keeble Consulting. My information is on this page. And if your parents have any questions or would like to get a hold of me or have some more information about what we talked about today, they can contact me with this information. Okay, so we're going to start with the hand model, and this was created by Dr. Daniel Siegel to help us understand what happens to our body, in particular our brain, when we have anxious feelings or a lot of anxiety. When we worry, it's not just in our brains though, our whole body can feel it. So I know, for example, when I worry, sometimes I start to feel really hot inside my body. Sometimes I get really thirsty, like my mouth is really dry, or it feels like there's a volcano in my tummy or butterflies in there. And sometimes I feel like I can't, think the same or speak the same. And all of this is because when we worry, which happens when, we're thinking about different things or something startles us or scares us, and we're concerned about it, it actually makes things happen in our bodies. Now, the way our world has been lately, I know my family and myself have had a lot more anxiety than normal. And the anxious feelings have been pretty tricky, especially when everyone in the house has been feeling them. So these tools that I'm going to give you hopefully will help you. And the more you practice them, then, when you're not feeling anxious. So that's kind of a trick. If you practice it when you're not having worry or you're not having anxious feelings, then it becomes much easier to use them when you do. So let's keep going. Now, we all know that our brain is inside our skull, inside our head. But did you know that our brain is actually made up of 3 smaller brains? Now, one is the reptilian brain, which does all the stuff that keeps us alive. So your heart beating, your breathing, your blood pumping around your body and circulating to every bit of you. All of that is controlled in your reptilian brain, which is down here. Now, is that something you have to think about? Do you have to remember to tell your heart to keep beating or remember to tell yourself to breathe? No. That's something that happens on its own, and that's pretty amazing, I think. But that's not actually the brain we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the other 2, which the one is the emotional brain. It's also called the mammalian brain, but that's where our emotions and feelings and all that come from. And that is right in here in this part of our brain. The third brain is this part, the top, and it comes all the way down here into our forehead. And that's the neocortex. This in particular is the prefrontal cortex. And this area is so important. It is where, all of our brains are important, but this one is especially important because that's where our thinking happens. That's where our decision-making happens. And this part of our brain actually helps keep our emotions in check. So, for example, if somebody is bringing I don't know, maybe a treat, and you are at school and there's a piece of cake, there's a cake and everybody gets a piece of cake, but then you really, really want a second piece of cake. Is it okay to just grab the person's piece of cake that's sitting next to you and eat it? Even if that's what you want to do, is that okay? No, that would get you in trouble. That's not fair. That's against the rules. Well, what stops you from doing that is your thinking brain. And that tells your emotional brain, which is going, I just want another piece of cake. I could just take it. I just want it. Cake, 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 cake. And your thinking brain goes, no, don't take the cake. It's against the rules. We've had one piece and let's enjoy that. So we need our thinking brain. It helps us make decisions, and it also helps keep our emotional brain in check. Now, the hand model is actually using our hand. So I'll tell you a little bit about it and then we'll come back to this. But if this represents our brain. So this is our spinal cord, which comes up into our neck, and this comes up into the emotional brain. That's my thumb. And the amygdala is in here. The amygdala is really important because it keeps us safe from danger. Now, these 4 fingers up here are the thinking brain, and they connect and hold together, or on top of, I should say, the emotional brain. So when you look at it, can you see that? There's my thumb tucked under all of my fingers. And if I hold my hand right here, you can see the prefrontal cortex is right where my forehead is. Okay, so this is the start of the hand model. Now, I mentioned worry, but did you know that worry is actually good? We actually need it. Without it, we wouldn't survive. We wouldn't be here as a species without worry. It keeps us safe when we're in danger. In our amygdala, do you remember I said in here in our emotional brain, there's a little part of it, that's the amygdala. That helps us. For example, if you look at the picture here, there's a dog chasing a postman. Now, that dog is, we're going to pretend, is trying to bite the postman. And the postman, instead of trying to turn around and pat the dog, is running away. Now, what happens is when our emotional brain, detects a threat, like a dog who's chasing us and barking in a not nice way and trying to bite us, what it does is it takes our prefrontal cortex thinking brain and it flips our lid. And what that means is that the thinking brain and the emotional brain are no longer connected. Okay, they're not communicating. So in this situation, it's important because we don't want them communicating when we're in danger, because we don't want to see a dog running at us, trying to bite us, and us go, gee, I wonder, should I run away from the dog, or should I maybe try and climb a tree? Oh, I don't know. I haven't climbed a tree in a long time. Maybe I should try and grab my phone and ring for help. No, we don't want to have all this thinking time when we're in danger. We just want to act. And that is why we flip our lid. It keeps us alert and safe. And worry is good like this, because when our lid is flipped, our instinct kicks in and we're in survival mode. We can run faster and we are stronger. And that is why, that is what is happening in this picture. And that is why we don't think, should I run? Should I climb a tree? No, we just run, because our body and our brain are working together without the thinking part to protect us. So, and worry is good. And that is how humans have survived. However, what's not good is too much worry. And sometimes our brains detect things that are threatening or dangerous that are not really threats. So, for example, if you look at this picture, the girl is worrying about a test. And the thing is, even though you may not like tests, or you may be worried because you don't think you know what you're supposed to know about that, that's not a threat. You're not in danger. You're not going to not survive if you don't pass the test. But it's also not happening right now. The test she's thinking about isn't until tomorrow. But what's happening in her body and in her brain is she's thinking about it right now. And so her brain is detecting a threat. And when we're too worried, like this girl is, worrying about her test and not just paying attention to what she's doing right now, that can cause us to flip our lid. But we're not in danger. And so when we flip our lids, we can't make good decisions because our thinking brain's not connected. Okay, so when we flip our lid, we're not making good decisions. We're usually screaming or doing something that you normally wouldn't do. And we really don't want to flip our lid when we're not in danger, because too much worry and too much flipping our lid is not good for us. So let's see. Now I'll show you one more time with the hand model. Now, here we go. The spinal cord coming up into our skull here, our emotional brain, and our thinking brain. Now, remember, in our emotional brain is our amygdala. So when we detect a threat or that we're in danger, we flip our lids, and our thinking brain is not talking to our emotional brain, because when we're in danger, we don't want to go through, gee, should I do this? Or maybe I should do that. No, because it may be too late. So we want them not to communicate. So we go into instinct survival mode and we survive. We can run faster and we are stronger in those moments. Now, when is it not good? This is not good. Flipping our lid is not good when we're just worrying. When we're thinking about things that are not happening right now and that are not putting us in danger right now. So just by thinking worrying thoughts a lot, we can flip our lids. And that can cause us to do things we don't want to do. It can cause us to say things that might hurt somebody. It may cause us to act in a way that we're not, that we normally wouldn't, because we are feeling, our brain is telling us that we're unsafe, even though we actually are. So the danger and the thing that you're worrying about is not happening this very second, but our brain is thinking too far ahead and is thinking about worrying things. And sometimes that causes us to flip our lid. So what can we do if we flip our lid? We're going to have a look at that now. I'll tell you, the first thing, and one of the best things that you can do, is to have a cold drink of water. Remember I said sometimes you feel hot inside? Well, you may not always, but I do. I always get really hot when I flip my lid, and the cold drink of water helps me cool down, not only temperature, but it just is calming and helps me feel good. So the first thing you need to do is have a cold drink of water. And if it's not cold, just a drink of water, getting us hydrated. So if you can, it'd be good to stop here for a second, have a drink of water, and just pay attention to how you feel afterwards. Now, obviously, we haven't flipped our lid right now, but have the drink, feel it go down your throat, and just pay attention to what that feels like. When we have flipped our lid, it can help us to start to bring our thinking brain back to communicate with our emotional brain. So we're going to try and get it to about there right now with the drink of water. Okay, I hope you had a chance to have a drink of water. If not, you can have one later. Another thing that really helps, and it seems to help majority of people who are worrying too much, is moving. So not just sitting there and thinking these worrying things over and over, no, but actually getting up and moving. Okay, number one, it helps us get our sillies out. Okay, and when we do that and we get all that energy and all that silliness out of our bodies and minds can then be calm. Okay, when we're feeling like we really have all this nervous, worried energy, we can't be calm if we're just sitting still. So it helps, one, have a cool drink of water. Two, do something to get your body moving. So once you're done with the moving, your brain and your body can be calm again. Now, depending on where you are, you may not always be able to go outside, grab a basketball and shoot hoops or anything like that. But here are some different ideas. A great one is star jumps. You can do that almost anywhere. Another one is dancing. I love when I'm worrying or thinking things that are too far in the future that might make me flip my lid because I'm not actually in danger right this very second. I love putting on my favorite song and I have a pop-up dance party. My kids come and we each get a turn to choose a song and we just dance and get our sillies out and move, and we just really like it. If you can go outside, playing a ball game is great, running, doing yoga, anything as long as you're moving. So I'd love it if right now you could stop, pause this, and find a way to move. Now remember, you're probably in with other students and your teachers, so ask your teacher how you can move and what you can do. Maybe do that for about 30 seconds and then come back. Okay, so hopefully you've had a drink of water, you did some moving. Sometimes you may feel like you need to have another drink of water after that, and that's okay. The final step, the third step, I should say. Sometimes this is the final step. Sometimes you may need to do something else. But the third step is to breathe. Okay, because when we are worried or when we're feeling anxious or when we flipped our lids, our breathing is not long and slow, which is how we normally breathe. Our breathing is usually short and fast. And sometimes it's like, and doing that type of breathing actually tells our brain that we're supposed to be worried. And it can actually, breathing like that can actually flip your lid. So what we want to do is help our brain to slow down and reset. So drink of water, moving is great for our brain and body to help it calm. The final thing is to breathe long and slow. Okay, and that helps our body and brain slow down and reset. And I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can do that. Now, this one is called snake breathing. Really easy. What you do is you have to breathe like a snake, but you have to do it for at least 30 seconds. And it's okay to breathe in between. I don't expect you to breathe like a snake for 30 seconds straight. I can't do that. So what you do is you make the sound a snake makes. What does a snake sound like? That's right. I can show you. You ready? A snake sounds like it's the S sound. Snakes make the S sound. And sometimes it's nice when you're doing your snake breathing, and depending on where you are, you can actually get down on the floor or stand up and move like a snake while you're doing the snake breathing. So you can do your snake breathing by making the S sound. But when you do it, I want you to try and do it for as long as you can. And, whoever's with you, or you can have a clock there so you can look at the time ticking away, do it for at least 30 seconds. The next one is belly breathing. This is another good one to learn how to get the deep breathing, that long and slow belly breathing. So you lie on the floor and you get either a soft toy or something to put on your belly. And with your breathing, what you're trying to do is make the soft toy or the object go up and down when you breathe. That way, the breath is coming from your belly and not from your chest. When it's coming from your chest, that's shallow breathing. And that's what makes and tells our brain that we're feeling anxious and worried and that we most likely need to flip our lid. So when you do the belly breathing, I want you to do it at least 10 times. And it takes practice. It's not easy to get sometimes the object moving up and down correctly, but with practice, it'll get better. Okay, 5-finger breathing. This is one of my favorites, actually. Now, it's a little more complicated, but I did make a picture there for you. What you do is you use your hand and your pointer finger, and you start here, and you're going to trace your fingers and your whole hand like this. Okay. Now, the thing is, this is the tricky bit, when you go up a finger, you're going to breathe in. And when you come down the other side, you're going to breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And you can finish there. And you do that once on each hand, and that's called 5-finger breathing. And once you get it, that's another great way and a great strategy to start to help your brain slow down and reset. And that's something you can pretty much do anywhere. Now, I'm going to show you this little video, and this is going to teach you 4-7-8 breathing. And this one is, I really like this one. However, sometimes when you're just starting, it's a little bit hard to do exactly what it says, 4-7-8, but that's okay. You can work up to that. So here we go.
All right, class, let me ask you something. When you're nervous or afraid, what is your breathing like?
I guess I breathe faster.
Yeah, me too.
Yup. Right, you tend to take short, quick, shallow breaths that make you feel worse. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to take long, slow, deep breaths that will help you calm down when you feel nervous or afraid. And if you practice this breathing exercise regularly, you will be able to train Whittle to be calmer.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
This is called 4-7-8 breathing. So you want to start out by sitting straight up like this. Now, a lot of times when we breathe in from our chests, up here. But today we're going to breathe from a lot lower, from our diaphragm. What? Your diaphragm is right here, by your stomach. Think of it as a balloon underneath your rib cage. Oh, okay. First, you breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Take a long, deep breath like you're filling up that balloon in your stomach. Then we're going to hold it for 7 seconds. And finally, we're going to slowly exhale through our mouths for 8 seconds. Pretend like there's a tiny hole in the balloon, and all the air is escaping from your mouth. Ready to try it all together now?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, no. Let me take a deep breath first. Okay. Ready. Great. Everyone sit straight up. You can follow along with us if you like. Now, take a deep breath through your nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Now hold that breath for 7 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Excellent. Now slowly release that breath for a count of 8 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good job, guys.
I have a question. What if I can't hold my breath for 7 seconds?
It's okay. It just takes a little practice. Do what you can for now. Let's try it one more time. Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 7 seconds. And now slowly breathe out for 8 seconds. Great job, class. You should practice this breathing exercise every day for about 5 to 10 minutes. Eventually, you will become calmer and make Whittle stop throwing tantrums every time you're anxious or afraid. Yeah, this is gonna work a lot better than hiding under the covers.
Okay, so in that video, they were talking about Whittle, and that is what they're calling the emotional brain. It's a name that they made up for him now, or her. Now, I'd like you to stop and try here and choose one of the breathing exercises, choose with the help of your teacher or parent, and give it a go and pay attention to how you feel afterwards and see if you can maybe tell your parent or your teacher or your class how you felt after doing the breathing activity. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is mindfulness. And basically all that is focusing on paying attention to what's happening right now. So not thinking about tomorrow or yesterday or even this morning. It's paying attention, I should say, to what's going on around you right now. Where are you? What are you doing? Well, hopefully you're listening to me. What are you sitting on? What's it feel like in the room that you're in? Are you in a room? Are you outside? What's the temperature? What do you hear? Do you smell anything? Can you taste anything? All of these things are things that I'm asking you to pay attention to where you are right now. And doing mindfulness is amazing for helping get rid of worry and helping reconnect our thinking brain to our emotional brain. Now, the 3 senses game is one that I play, and I kind of did a little bit with you there. What you do if you start to feel worried and you want to try and stop the worried thoughts and stop feeling anxious or feel less anxious, what you can do is play the 3 senses game. And what that helps you do is it grounds you and helps you pay attention to right now. And what I always say is, tell me 3 things that you can hear right now. Now, if you think about it and you really pay attention, you'll start to hear things that you weren't hearing before because you weren't paying attention to it. So you can do that. Then you can go to 3 things you can see right now. You can also then tell me 3 things that you can feel right now. Now, it doesn't just have to be 3, it can be more, but this is a really good game to play to get you to focus on right now. When you're doing that and you're not thinking about the future or the past and thinking about those worrying thoughts, being present right now with mindfulness can help us feel a lot better. So it'd be great if you could play this game with your teacher or your parent and see how you go. Okay, other mindfulness activities are things that really get you to pay attention to, what is it? To yesterday? No. Tomorrow? No? Okay. It's to pay attention to right now. A great way to do that is coloring in. Coloring in is a great mindful activity, and I really enjoy it. I find it so calming. And yeah, I think it's meant to be like that. Drawing is another one. Writing a story. You can take a mindful walk. That's wonderful. Some people can do it. You wouldn't be able to do this at school, most likely, but some people go on barefoot walks on the grass on their front yard, and they feel the grass between their toes, and they listen to what's happening outside and smell and see and in paying attention to what's happening on that walk. Meditating is another great way, and you don't have to sit there and be quiet for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. There's all types of meditation. My kids' favorite ones that we do are, we go to YouTube and Google kids meditations, and there are so many. Some are just like a story, and those are really great. I think I've mentioned this before, but yoga is a really great mindful activity. But my absolute favorite is to sit and pat my dog. That when you are doing nothing but patting your animal or a animal or cuddling an animal, that is mindfulness. You can pay attention to what they feel like, what they're doing. My dog licks, and she's just a crazy licker. But that's a great mindful activity. Another one is Play-Doh, building something with Play-Doh. You smell the Play-Doh, feel the Play-Doh, you're there focused on doing that right at that moment. That's mindfulness, and it helps us feel better and less worried. This is another video that I'd like you to watch, and this is about a mindfulness morning, but also a mindful less morning. So what I really like about that video is the difference that she had with the morning without mindfulness and the morning that she had when she practiced the mindfulness. Did you notice what she did? She was breathing. She did long and slow breathing. The exact same thing happened. She was running late, but when she realized she was running late, she has learned that that's going to make her brain start to get worried and have anxious feelings and most likely flip her lid. So what did she do? She used one of her tools, and that was the breathing. So she did that and went outside, and the morning that she did not do her breathing, what happened? She had mud flung all over her. She got angry and she flipped her lid. She even at one point roared like a lion. Okay. And I don't think she would have felt very good. Do you? So the morning that she did practice mindfulness, did she get hit with the mud and did she miss the bus? Yes. But once she started to feel that anger outside when she just missed the bus, just before she started to flip her lid, or as she was starting to flip her lid, what did she do? She did her breathing. She did her long and slow, deep breathing. And what did that do? It reconnected her thinking brain to her emotional brain. She didn't flip her lid. She stayed connected. And what did that allow her to do? She was able to get out her phone and ring her dad to come pick her up. So it helped her calm, and she was starting to feel upset. It helped her calm down. Then it helped her think, because her thinking brain was connected again to her emotional brain. And she thought of what could she do instead. And her dad came, picked her up to take her to school. Now, both of those mornings had the same things happen. She missed the bus, and both mornings she started to not feel happy about that. But the morning that she flipped her lid, I think she probably felt pretty rubbish the rest of the day. The morning that she practiced her mindfulness, she did her breathing and brought her lid back down and connected, I bet her day seemed a lot better because she practiced and calmed herself. And, these are the strategies that I'm giving to you, the tools that you can use right now. And it'd be great for you to practice using them every day. And it can be for 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be long at all. And before you know it, you guys will be experts at keeping your lid down and not flipping your lid as much. But remember, we do need it sometimes when we're trying to survive. Like if the dog was chasing us and we were that postman. Now, this is the last activity that we're going to do. This is called a mindfulness minute. So if you could watch it and then watch it again, but do it as a class, that would be great. So let's watch the first one together. So when you do that mindfulness activity again, what I'd love for you to do as a class is pay attention before you do the activity to how you feel. Then I want you to do the mindfulness class activity, which was the teacher rang a bell or made some kind of noise with the other way you can do it is with a singing bowl, but ringing a bell is good too. And when so you keep your eyes closed when it starts, and then when the noise stops, that's when you open your eyes. And then afterwards, once the sound had stopped, and you notice if you watch the video again, you'll notice that the kids didn't, or the class didn't all hear it stop at the same time. And it's a really interesting thing to do as a group. And at the end, they did some really long and slow breathing. Once you've done that, it'd be great for you to have a talk or draw or think about how you feel after you've done that mindfulness activity. And so everything that I've shown you here today that we've talked about, the videos, they're all great tools and strategies that you can use if you're starting to catch yourself worrying too much, or worrying when there's not real threats around, like you're not being chased by an angry dog. And it'd be great for you to use them whenever you feel that it would be helpful. So thank you very much